Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. As you can see, it's a rather complicated story. There are no assistants. There is no graphics. We just spit out the truth because you deserve the truth in 20 minutes, whereas it takes the media all day to say what we say in 20 minutes. So hang on to your hats. It's going to be a quick show. How can a TV commercial upset so many libtards in such a horrible way? Oh my God, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. We're going to go really fast. By the way, it's Chocolate Chip Day. National Chocolate Chip Day. Remember, cookies aren't on your diet, but cookie dough is okay. That's the motto we just created. Anyway, a note from our advertiser. You know, this is really important. I got a call from an old friend, known him for 20, 30 years, many years. Anyway, this old friend is going through the big D, the divorce. The wife decided she's going to go play. Lost a bunch of weight. Started hanging out in bars with a bunch of friends. Everybody else is divorced. She wants a divorce. She wants both houses, both cars. She wants everything. And here in the libtard state where we worship Lucifer and the judges sacrifice, do human rituals every month, that happens. They even assign men's federal disability to the women, which is illegal. So the judges should be arrested. Has anybody been arrested? No, because the Department of Justice, the British Authorized Registry, is loyal to a knight in England who worships Lucifer. That's why he was knighted. So he didn't know what to do. So what I recommended, first of all, never lie to a judge, never lie to the IRS. The corporation is in somebody else's name, which means this person's wife has no access to it, and the assets that he's receiving are going to be placed in gold with money orders. Now, why is that important? Because he uses corporate profits. He buys gold and silver through Noble Gold. He's going to start switching, and then he moves it to some place where the corporation is. And since it's not owned by him or his wife, now a divorce is when two people marry, a corporation and a corporation merge. It's a corporate merger. Happens every day. You put the state in bed with you. When the corporation splits, the law is you split all the assets 50-50. Everything else is hearsay. Everything else is he said, she said, mudslinging. Forget it. You're going through a divorce. You take the you list the assets, and the judge determines how the assets are split. You get this house, you get this house, you get this money, you get that money. So this gal is looking at paying half her retirement to the guy since the guy has no retirement. And a corporate profit, there is none. He just simply stopped. 877-646-5347. Talk to Holly or somebody else there. I like all of them. Happen to know several of them. You call Noble Gold and you say, I'm going through a divorce. And you don't use cashier's checks because they're tracked by the bank. Use money orders, and you, say you have a son or a grandson or a mother. You put all the gold there and you give it to her, and then your corporate profits go into gold and silver, and they're not reportable because they're not yours. Now again, never lie to the IRS. And never lie to a judge. This is between you and Noble Gold. And what you have in their vault is yours and can never be shared with a court or can be shared with the IRS or anybody else. What you have is what you have, and your spouse will never find it. So if you're beginning to smell a rat in the house, you take your profits, you put them in gold in a safe vault that Noble Gold stores. Now, you work this out with the IRS, because I never lie to the IRS. Oh my God, I lie and God will kick my butt. I'm not worried about the IRS. I'm worried about what God will do to me. So, he's doing everything legal. He's doing everything ethical. And he's reporting all the corporate profits. And then he's putting it in gold and silver, which is not an asset because it's the company's asset. And he doesn't own the company. So I highly recommend you call 877-646-5347. She'll get your 401k. Because again, Our court is made up of satanic priests who do human rituals every month. And they will violate the Bible. The Bible says you write a certificate of divorce, the woman leaves the home. But in Washington, Oregon, California, and all the other blue states, the judge turns that around and Satan gives the woman all the assets. Why? To destroy and kill. That's what Satan does. So I highly recommend, because of the, splitting the corporate in two means you just split the assets in two. You're divorced. Now, he said, she said, he said, she's sleeping around, he's sleeping around. He's a slut, she's a slut. That's all mudslinging. And that's what the lawyers prey on. They respond to the mudslinging and suck you dry. So if you're in this divorce, you simply file a divorce. Here's the assets. Let's split it 50-50. A simple divorce. Let your spouse, let the man or the woman spend all the money on mudslinging, but it's very simple, and call Noble Gold to assist you in this. Because they will put your assets somewhere that, it will help you put your assets somewhere. Like maybe you want to buy $10,000 in gold and give it to your mother. It's no longer your asset, right? You deal with that between you and your mom. Anyway, God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Oh. Anyway, on to the news. Sorry, that is such a... I know the people, both of them, and that's for one of the spouses to lose 50 pounds and then go fly off the handle and start sleeping around is just... well, it's not unprecedented. It happens in about 70% of the divorce cases. And usually it's the woman that flies off the handle. Sometimes it's the man. But usually it's the woman who decides, I want to be free, I want all your assets, and I'm going to steal it all because I can. And she's being given advice from her bartending drunk friends. This is not going to end well with her. She's already got cancer. That's what happened with my wife. She couldn't have a child. She got cancer, and she decided to go off the deep end. Well, I've never really experienced cancer, so I didn't know what it would feel like. And so I just said, fine, I'll help you do whatever you want to do. So she started sleeping around, and she eventually left. We had an amicable divorce. The judge said, I'd never seen such an easy divorce. I split everything in half. I said, well, we'll just take everything. I need a desk, computer, a pan, a spoon, and a cup. She took everything else. She left me my clothes, which is fine. Sleeping bag in the corner was fine. But the divorce was done. It takes 6 months to split a corporation, 3 months to get to get a hearing, and then 3 months after that, you're divorced. I didn't have any income. I was a forester. There's almost no income as a forester. So we split everything up, and she went her way, and I went my way, and she up and died. It never dawned on me that I already knew the book, The Cure for Cancer from the U.S. Army. It never dawned on me to feed her seaweed. I was so stunned and in an emotional state of, and like this person is. So anyway, call Noble Gold. They can help a lot. And a can of tuna, to get the same kind of tuna we had when we were kids, is 50 times higher. This is ground up something or other. Nobody knows what's in it, but the cats love bumblebee tuna. So I think it's tuna. But I realized how much smaller a can got when I tried to make a tuna fish sandwich, and this doesn't even have enough tuna for a tuna fish sandwich. That's insane. So to buy the same amount of tuna, you have to be making 50 times higher. The average salary in 1960 was $5,600. So in order to buy, because taxes have gone from 15% to 60%, in order to buy the same amount of tuna, you have to be making $500,000 a year, when your dad was making $5,600 a year. Are you making $500,000 a year? No, then you can't buy the same like for like tuna, can you? We've been slowly squeezed to death. When I was a kid, there were 15 million people on retirement Social Security. Today, there are 15 million people on retirement Social Security. Why? Because most people die on the way. And a higher percentage are now dying. Anyway, again, I've shown you this. Trump is not... I went through 116 pages to the point where Trump threw Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. He bought it, got to know him, and then he threw him out. He was a weird, I mean, come on, he's shapeshifted. He's a demon. He's not on the flight manifesto. You're looking at it. Trump is not on the flight manifesto. And yes, 6 August plus or minus 3 days, Trump, you better be doggone careful because somebody's going to try to take you out. Will I ever find out about it? Maybe. Maybe I'll find out about it 3 months later. The FBI does not cooperate with us because they want him dead. And the local power bill. Oh, yeah, our local power bill. Here we go. $235 in power, water, and garbage, and $265 in taxes because we have to have affirmative action. So a $500 a month power bill. If you move to Tacoma, if you move a business here, you're so screwed because you go to hire somebody, you got to pay them right off the bat for property taxes, insurance, homeowners, everything. You have to pay them a minimum of $30,000 a year just to cover rent and power. That doesn't include food or transportation. Anyway, Pennsylvania Power, PJM, which is Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Maryland Power, is having blackouts. Why? Because the idiot governors have gone to solar and wind. When the wind doesn't blow, there's no power. When the sun doesn't shine, there's no power. And they're too stupid to do what Las Vegas did, which is create 2 dams. And when there's sun power, they pump it up. And when there's wind power, they pump it up. And at night, it comes down and creates power. Pennsylvania, PJM, and the Democrats are too stupid to do that. In fact, they're shutting down all the dams. So only 4% of their power comes from dams. The libtards have destroyed America. They want you dead. There is no wind. There is no power. There is no sun. There is no power. The wholesale power rates have gone from 1.5 cents. They're 1 cent here because we have dams all over the place. So they've gone from 1.5 cents to 4 cents. So the rates there are going from 20 cents a kilowatt hour to 40 cents. So they're paying 1.5 cents and charging you 20 cents. Now they're paying 3.5 cents, 4 cents, and they're charging you 40 cents. So the profit margin is going through the roof. What's the Democratic solution? Don't reopen a power plant. We'll just sue. So the governor of New York is suing. He's a frickin' libtard Satanist. He's too stupid to figure this out. When the wind doesn't blow, you don't have any power with a windmill. The libtards are that stupid. And on to the news. Nantucket, Connecticut has a $4 billion investment in windmills. One of the windmills just came unglued and scattered crap all over the beach, which destroyed their tourism. Nobody told anybody in Nantucket. It was 4 days later when somebody discovered the torn up fiberglass all over the shores. Fiberglass doesn't break down. It's glue on top of fibered glass. They used to use canvas on top of fibered glass, but a glass company got involved and said, let's use glass. Amazing. Anyway, so there's stuff all over the shores. They spent $4 billion of your money and built 20 windmills. $4 billion and built 20 windmills. Another Biden boondoggle where somebody gets the money but not you. And when the wind doesn't blow off Nantucket, they don't have any power. So guess what? Power shortages. What a bunch of libtard freaks. And RFK has outlawed mercury in vaccinations. Big, huge story. Really? We had a gal on whose brother was in charge of a bioweapons lab, and he was talking to the head of Pfizer. Do you use mercury in vaccinations? It's been outlawed. He said, like heck, it's been outlawed. We use it all over the place. They're not going to listen to RFK. You can't even get the fluoride out of the water. What good is he? And the air in Tacoma is foul. And that means that we've had rain predicted 2 days out for the last month. We're supposed to get rain every once in a while. Instead, the 55th and 60th Air Wing and Dryzen Air is spraying us with 100 tons of toxins per plane per day, killing us. Well, ecologically, the tarantulas come out in September all over the Southwest. Usually after the first rain, it's not going to have a first rain. NASA and the 55th and 60th Air Wing want you dead, and they're not going to allow the rain, so the tarantulas won't break out, so they're murdering hundreds of billions of tarantulas. Go NASA, yeah! Anyway, New York City had a 3.0 earthquake. It was not an deep underground military base being taken out. The earth plates are destabilizing as the volcanoes across America begin to rumble. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Fritz, for starting this. That weight is on your shoulders, your colonel's shoulders, your 1, 2, and 3-star general's shoulders. Has anybody been fired over these earthquakes? Has anybody been fired about starting the birth pains? Not a one. Trump couldn't care less. And every year there's a Sturgis motorcycle rally, and they're all having the rally right now. It's quite the event. 50,000 motorcyclists show up, and I'd love to go. Just love to go. Anyway, Wyoming, are you ready for this? Are you ready? A grizzly bear was shot in the middle of nowhere in the middle of Wyoming. 22 rounds were plugged into this grizzly bear. Shot 22 times. It's in the middle of nowhere. Probably 4 men on horseback were attacked by a grizzly and they all opened fire on it. All right? That happens. Bears go nuts. Grizzly bears are like, I'm sorry, the air is foul. Thank you, nasty pigs. Anyway, in the middle of nowhere, somebody killed a grizzly bear with 22 shots. We get no information on it. It's a hidden investigation by the Wyoming Fish and Wildlife Service. They're spending millions upon millions of dollars to find out who shot this bear. Don't cooperate with them. You'll only end up in jail. They come by, I don't know anything about it. You ask them what caliber rifle was it, they're not going to tell you. They're just going to bust in and search your rifles because they want to know what rifles you have. Do not cooperate with the Fish and Wildlife Service. They have too much money to spend. This bear was killed 60 days ago. They're investigating this with millions upon millions of your taxpayer dollars because the Wyoming Fish and Wildlife gets federal grants. Why? Why are we supporting it with federal grants, President Trump? What the friggin'? They're spending millions of dollars to investigate a grizzly bear death. How stupid. They just have too much time and money on their hands. I mean, it was in the middle of frickin' nowhere. You got to take a chopper to get in there. And then you got to hang down by a rope. It's some pretty tough country out there. I've spent 7 years as a forester, and this is some tough country, even for a forester. And I don't know how to say this. Troy Lake was messing with diesel trucks to make the diesels work. So like I did to my Chevy Love, I pinched off all the exhaust pipes going into the pistons because we were sucking up raw exhaust back into the engine. And I was getting 20 miles to the gallon. So when I pinched them off, I went to 40 miles to the gallon. So the assistant director of licensing for Washington State called me up and started cussing me. You son of a blah, 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 blah. I said, excuse me, but who is this? I'm the assistant attorney for the Department of Licensing. I'm going to have you arrested. Why, because I get 40 miles to the gallon? Yes, kiss my royal rear. And so then the director called and Mr. Fitzhugh explained to me what was going on. And he said, if you don't burn enough gasoline, if you don't burn 20 miles to the gallon instead of 40 miles to the gallon, you're not efficient and we'll seize the car and have you arrested. And I said, wait a minute. So if I burn 2 ounces of gasoline per mile versus 4 ounces of gasoline per mile, I'm less efficient. He said, that's correct. That's how the state law defines it. Why are attorneys not outlawed in America? President Trump, get off your patootie and outlaw the British Authorized Registry in America. Well, we'll find out what happens on the 6th, plus or minus 3 days. This is a serious threat to President Trump. So this guy was doing what I did. Investigated him. The EPA backed off. Biden took office. I mean, they're talking to him. What'd you do? How'd you increase the mileage? How'd you make the diesel engines last more than 50,000 miles? How did you give them more power? And he was explaining to him. They said the case is dropped, no criminal charges. 4 years later, Biden takes office. They take him to a judge. The judge says, 12 months and 1 day in jail. He said, for what? For modifying a diesel engine. He said, but the EPA dropped the case. He says, yeah, but they reinitiated the case. We're asking President Trump to pardon Troy Lake and to arrest the EPA officials and the EPA lawyers involved in this and the judge involved in this. Will he do it? I don't know. He may pardon Troy Lake, but he won't arrest those who put Troy Lake in jail. He's not following God. Trump could tell God, so God's doing the same thing to him. Anyway, he's not going to arrest those prosecutors and put them in jail. And finally, so we're asking Trump to pardon Troy Lake. He's not going to arrest any lawyers. He's a little chicken. He tells God to kiss his rear. So God's going to tell him to kiss his rear real soon. So Troy Lake, we're asking Trump to pardon him. Because he did the same thing I did. He pinched off the small control devices and made the diesel trucks last longer. Now with the new EPA smog devices, you can expect transportation costs to go through the roof. The costs are going through the roof because of government regulation. That's it. Hyperinflation due to government regulation. Has nothing to do with the cost of commodities. They're the same as they were in 1970. Has to do with government regulations. All the food is going up in price because of government regulations. The government needs to be shut down. And all those food additives and chemicals need to be eliminated from our food immediately, including fluoride and fluoride packaging. They do that to make you stupid and fat, dependent on Big Pharma. And the libtards have gone nuts over an ad. Sydney Sweeney, the bankrupt jeans company, has realized that advertising LGBT and minorities is not paying the bills. The catalogs haven't realized it yet, but the majority of buyers are white and they make the money. So what they're doing now is the jeans company decided to use a white female, not a white male, but a white female to advertise jeans with blue eyes. She has blue eyes. And she says it's all in the jeans. And the libtards have gone absolutely bonkers. If this is how they're going to win the 2026 election, by coming after whites on television commercials, they got another thing coming. They're coming after the whites on television commercials. Don't they have anything better to do? Oh, and it turned out, somebody looked it up, this Sydney Sweeney, which is probably a fake name, because most actors and actors use fake names. Sydney Sweeney, with blue eyes and blonde hair, advertising for the jeans. The libtards are nuts. You know, all their tattoos and the crappy clothes and their hair going straight out and the earrings and nose rings. The libtards are going nuts over this. Unbelievable. Somebody found out she's a registered Republican. So of all the things to talk about, as the Ukraine is losing 1,500 soldiers to death every day, as Israel is clearing out Gaza because Egypt violated the treaty that has been over 1,000 times. Egypt violated the treaty that's been in existence since 1950, 75 years. Israel has had enough. Send the Egyptians back to Egypt. Take Palestine back. So while we've got conflict, Cambodia's attacking Thailand. China's attacking a dozen countries. They're stretching their wings. The libtards are asking about a white woman advertising for jeans. They've gone bonkers. I don't know what's mentally wrong with the left, but they've gone bonkers. They're going to find themselves out on the streets because these libtards are collecting welfare, and when they start cutting welfare, low-income housing, they're going to find their butts out on the street. And everybody we know we support. Where does our YouTube money go? To people we know who can't afford rent. Last month, we spent the money to reverse somebody's cancer. Wife flew down there, Immunosystem seaweed. This month, it's going to go to somebody's teeth. $4,000. Do I have $4,000? Do we make $4,000? No. We've been suppressed. So I'm going to pull it out of my own savings to help this person with their teeth. So forget about buying anything like gold and silver. I'm simply going to pay for their teeth because they're in utter pain. And so, and the state doesn't cover anything for retired people. Oh, if you're an illegal alien or a refugee, full dental care, $8,000 a month. But if you're an American who's on Social Security, all 15 million of them, not the 120 million who are on refugee pay, but if you're an American, you're screwed. Pray that the White House is turned upside down until they fix the spraying, the fluoride in the water, and the screwing of the Americans. Pray that the White House is turned upside down. That may happen on the 6th of August, plus or minus 3 days. It's always plus or minus 3 days because of the satanic rituals that they perform. Satan can only be in one spot at one time. He ain't all powerful. God bless. Thank you very much. Sorry we went over time. We'll see you tomorrow.